Welcome to CityCast Denver. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Producer Olivia Jewell-Love, good morning.
Hi.
And our Green Chili correspondent, Justine Sandoval, is here. Hi, Justine.
Hi, how's it going?
Sorry. Good.
So good. We're laughing because we've had technical difficulties this morning and we're redoing this intro for the third time. So That's why it's so funny to us.
It's hilarious to us, not funny to listeners at all. Well, let's get into it. We've got some hot topics today. We're talking, let's start with bookstores. So there's a brand new bookstore, the Denver Book Society, which opened, I think, over last weekend. It's at 17th and Humboldt, owned by former mayoral candidate, former school board candidate, and one-time part owner of Tattered Cover, Kwame Spearman. Before we get into the story itself, Olivia, you went to the bookstore this weekend. What'd you think?
I did. It was cool. I was over at White Pie having lunch in the neighborhood at Tallulah Jones, trinket shopping as one does on a beautiful Saturday in February when the weather is really weirdly warm. But I decided to stop in and it was really cool. It was super busy, which I thought was really cool because, everybody's out there getting books. That's awesome. But it was very busy. There were a lot of dogs in there, which was very Denver-y.
So Denver.
I told Justine I thought of her because I met a bulldog named Poe. He was wearing a little vest that said his name on it, which I love that. And I don't know if it was hearkening to Edgar Allan Poe. Maybe he was a literary dog. I don't know. Kind of very elevated dogs in this bookstore. I don't know. But it was cool. I got the vibe from it more of like a Barnes and Noble than an indie bookstore. I think because it was just pretty new, pretty new fixtures, new bookcases, stuff like that. It didn't feel lived in yet, which you can't really manufacture. So I'll give them that. They had coffee going. People were buying lattes and stuff. People were drinking wine, alcohol, which I read that they were still working on their liquor license. So I don't know if they got that or if that was a secret prohibition type of thing happening. But it was really cool. I thought the vibe in there was nice. I didn't buy anything. I've got a huge stack of books that I need to get through. And also I'm definitely more of a library girly, but I don't know. People were digging it. There were a lot of people in there.
It was busy.
Yeah.
I'm sure the weather also helped.
Oh my God. And they had the doors open. Everybody was just milling around the block. It was definitely just a place let's stop in. They had a community puzzle going. People were demolishing the puzzle. They were finishing it, starting a new one. I was like, okay, go off, puzzle heads.
Justine, have you been by yet? It's been open for less than a week, but.
No, I haven't had a chance to check it out. But, I love a good bookstore. In my neighborhood growing up, we had Cultural Legacy and a few other bookstores in the neighborhood. And it was just this gathering spot, nice days, going for walks, window shopping, going into the bookstore. Yeah. It was always nice. I think it's a great addition to a community.
My bookstore as a child growing up was, the Bookies, of course, and then the Book Rack, but also Tattered Cover, Cherry Creek, which, speaking of the lived-in feel, it's so wild how lived in that space felt for being in a building, you know what I mean? In Cherry Creek, it felt like you were in a house, the green carpet, which you can still see at the Tattered Covers today. But there was dark wood and I've always been a magazine person. They had a beautiful little magazine nook, and I just want to recreate that feeling one day. It doesn't quite exist anymore, but I think, like you were saying, Olivia, this could get there once it's
And I mean, it's such a cool space. They have skylights, a lot of exposed brick. The back room was really kind of a narrow area that they had a lot of the skylights and stuff with some cozy places to sit. I saw a lot of potential in there. I thought it could get cool with some time, getting some character in there.
Cute. Also, I just want to say for old Denver heads, 17th and Humboldt, this is the space that used to be a very cool, fancy restaurant in the 80s and 90s. And actually, I think into the early 2000s called Strings. So if you're ever a Strings fan, you can wander back in there and feel what you used to feel about strings. But
And then after it was the Humboldt Kitchen and Bar.
Yes.
Apparently, I was reading up on it because I was like, this is such a cool building. Like, why is this? What is this?
it's a beautiful space. I'll be curious to see it now. But I think we have to get into a little bit of there's some controversy around this bookstore. At least one of the owners, again, like I said, Kwame Spearman is one of the co-owners. And so Westward posted a story about it, and a lot of spicy comments popped up. One of them was some sort of beef with an existing entity called the Denver Book Swap Society, who had politely, I think, asked the company, hey, could you maybe go with a different name? That did not happen. So there's a little bit of bitterness there. And then I think just digging into Kwame's recent backstory here in Denver. I mean, he was a mayoral candidate in 2023. This is when we had 17 people running for mayor. So there was a lot of space there was trying to differentiate yourself, I think, was a big part of that race. But folks were bringing up in the Westward Post some comments that he had made about ICE, I think was the big thing. So I went and looked back. He was in hot water for some comments that he made on conservative talk radio station KNUS in 2023 when he was on the campaign trail. According to reporting from 9 News, Spearman said that the city should restart collaboration with immigration officials if possible, and suggested that if ICE can't easily arrest unauthorized immigrants working in Denver, that those immigrants commuting to and from homes in the suburbs present, quote, opportunities for us to apply the letter of the law. Which in 2026 context, I think is even more, it's even more of a statement than I think it was in 2023.
This episode is brought to you by MultiPass. Because MultiPass was founded by event hosts for event hosts. You can sell tickets, memberships, and find local events with MultiPass. MultiPass is proudly based right here in Denver, Colorado, and deeply rooted in the local event and creative scene. That's how they knew how to create a platform that allows you to build vibrant communities. You'll see for yourself when you RSVP for your first event on MultiPass. They've got a unique community chat feature that unlocks when you say you're attending, which for attendees is awesome because then you get to meet like-minded people. And for event hosts, it helps attendees connect and engage and get the most out of your thing. They've also got revenue sharing tools built in, which automatically split ticket revenue between producers, performers, and promoters, and a promoter dashboard to boost attendance with built-in tools to add street teams and track performance. MultiPass is designed to help everyone in the event ecosystem win, not just the platform. Learn more at multipass.com. That's multipass.com.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. And each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
What did Kwame say about those past comments?
So he's been catching a lot of strays for this, obviously, like in the comments section, people posting about it, just everywhere. And so he put out just a statement on the page, and he's been responding to a bunch of people's comments. So he puts out just like a text post on Instagram. It says, "I'm Kwame Spearman, the co-owner of Denver Book Society. I wanted to get this response out as I've now been forwarded and had the opportunity to read reports and social media posts suggesting that I am pro-ICE. I want to be very clear, I do not and have never supported ICE. Any claim otherwise is a very serious mischaracterization of my views and deeply offensive to me. My position in support of Denver as a sanctuary city and the need to protect all of our residents has been consistent, regardless of headlines or posts that state otherwise. We built our store to reflect those same values, and I look forward to continuing to demonstrate our commitment to this and to all of our community.
Justine, what do you make of that statement on the back of his statements in 2023 about ICE?
I think my problem with Kwame is that he just comes with controversy in everything that he does, from running for school board, running for mayor, to the tattered cover. Like, I cannot forgive the fact that you lost the tattered cover, one of the most iconic independent bookstores in the nation, to Barnes and Nobles. It's like a bad movie situation. Like the little bookstore gets shut down or gets bought by the big corporate. So aside from those things, I think the problem is that we just don't know who he is or who he represents. I mean, to me, being on KNUS was a problem in the first place.
Which, to be fair, Bree has also been on KNUS. So let's just stop right there. Bree has also been on that show.
I have been a guest on KNUS on that station
You have
on the Jeff and Bill show.
I saw, yes. Okay. Me personally, it's a problem when I'm, seeing somebody like Kwame, who I don't know where they fall exactly politically, or where they stand on things, and being willing to just tell one group, like KNUS group, one thing that they want to hear, and then tell another group what they want to hear about ICE. It just never seems like there's a genuine place that any of this is coming from. There's nothing that he really stands on. So it's hard to tell, if he is really being sincere. I think he has really good PR training, really good on camera training, to be able to talk about these things and make these statements. But honestly, I think he should have been a silent partner in this bookstore venture. If you want my opinion on it, it probably would have helped him roll out this really great bookstore if maybe his name wasn't directly in the front of it.
I mean, I think it was a matter of either he could speak about it or someone was going to dig up that he was part owner anyway. But I do think the bookstore choice for a business is an interesting way to go when you are somebody that has run for office multiple times, because bookstores oftentimes are political. I know we went through this with Tattered Cover, and the original owner, Joyce Meskis, standing up for customers' rights to keep their book purchases private. But she also got in some hot water for supporting the camping ban. I mean, it's just one of those businesses that I think comes with an inherent political conversation. So it is an interesting choice for him, though. To be fair, he came off the Tattered Cover purchase as well, which again didn't necessarily go great. I think it still remains to be seen how the Barnes and Noble ownership is going. I have to say, I've been to the Colfax the Colfax location many times since that buyout, and it hasn't felt much different to me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't feel different for employees and things. But it's just an interesting business to go into when you've been political.
Yeah, well, I'll say part of it that's interesting is he's spoken out about this, and obviously it's no secret that the stuff with the Tattered Cover happened. But I've seen, I've been reading this article from Denver 7, and part of the, I guess, framing, he's like, yeah, this happened, but I'm learning from this failure, and I want to use that to move forward into this new venture. And he's like, I feel like I learned a lot from what happened here, and it sucked, but I want to take that and apply it to this new thing. So I think that's an interesting way to kind of be candid about it and I don't know, sort of transparent maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think too, this bookstore hasn't developed its personality yet. We don't really know what the bookstore is going to do, what kinds of authors they're going to bring in, what kinds of events they may host, because that to me tells you a lot about the bookstore itself.
Well, we have some of an idea of the stuff, because they're really focusing on wanting this to be a third space, and they really want to have a lot of these events. And they've started to host some events, and they're even having a membership program for people to join. It's you can pay a rate at the beginning of the year to get discounts and invites to special events at the bookstore. And it looks like they've already had a reading or two, like event at the bookstore. So, and I don't know, some other things I was reading, because he was really kind of fighting for his life in the Instagram comments when people were like coming for him. And people were like, well, you know, if you say that you are anti-ICE and all this stuff, are you committed to having events and like hosting authors that reflect those values? And he said yes in the comments.
Oh.
So I think that, like, for me, it's going to kind of be a, let's see if somebody is who they say they are. Like, is he going to back up what he's saying? Is he going to do what he says he will do? Then, like, okay, because I think I want to believe that people can change, and like, that's great. Like, I want to believe, like, yeah, if you're no longer like pro-ICE, that's awesome. Cool. Like, that's a good change to make. But like, you know, we'll see if you actually do that or not. So, and like, I think the point you made, Justine, is really fair, of like, we don't really know. He's been making these statements and stuff, and they're kind of just like saying like, oh, you guys are believing the headlines, you know, you're not really like understanding what I really believe. And it's like, we need you to show us. We need you to show up, have the space, bring the people, and like, then we'll believe you. So I think he really has an opportunity here to show people if he's real about it.
Yeah. I'd like to know a little more about the name situation, because I've like worked in nonprofits and like coming up with names. And if you find a name that's like similar to a partner org or something, you like will, even if you're in the rebranding process, you will shift gears because it's part of like the community process. So I wonder how much they talked to him about it.
Well, they said in this Denver 7 article, his co-owner, his last name is Garvin. He said they were unaware of the swap group when they chose their name and were too far along in the branding process to change the name when they learned about the name of the other organization. But he said that he encouraged collaboration between the two groups, hoping that the Denver Book Society could host events, or hoping that the Denver, sorry, I'm already getting confused between the two names.
It's confusing, yeah.
Hoping that the Denver Book Society could host events for the Denver Book Swap Society. So it sounded, I don't know if that's just like covering your tracks kind of thing, but it sounds like he said if they wanted to have events in the space, we'd be happy to host them. Even if they wanted an area in the space where they could put out books and people could swap, we'd be happy to do that. So I don't know, but I saw on Instagram that the Denver Book Swap Society put out a statement as well. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah.
But they said, Denver Book Swap Society is by no means associated with a bookstore in Denver. We are a small woman-owned business that has been hosting book swap events for the bookish community around Denver since 2022. Last fall, we politely requested for the store to use a different name. They declined.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, it's a little bit getting off on the wrong foot within your own community when we're talking about like booksellers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not the best look. And I have to say, like, I'm with you, Justine. I was on the board of a nonprofit that the city of Denver wanted to use a name for a program that was very similar to our name. And we asked them not to, and they adhered to that. They were very open to it. So it does, I can see how it might leave a bad taste in some folks' mouth initially. But again, I think you both are making good points, like going forward. Will we learn who Kwame really is? Will we see by the actions and what the bookstore decides to do who they purport to be? And if that does include, if the Book Swap Society does want to end up working with them, I think that would say something big. I think overall, it's not small indie bookstores, it's not a huge community. I mean, everybody kind of knows each other. So, But you made a good point too, Justine, is like, we never have enough of them. So, this is another one. This is a fresh start. Hopefully for this part of town too, it's another option and another opportunity. I think it's just remains to be seen how things operate.
And I think Westward pointed out that we lost Book Bar, and this is like another bookstore that's got a bar in it.
The bar element, yeah.
I loved Book Bar, so
it's a great idea. It's a great
idea.
concept.
It's such a fun idea. So I do like that aspect.
Well, we'll keep watching. If you have been to this bookstore or you have thoughts on us, let us know. Give us a call on the Denver Indie Bookstores, our cool hotline, 720-500-5418. Let's move on. We've got another topic for today. Denver Pride is moving locations again. So 2025 brought a lot of changes for Denver Pride Fest and the parade. Last year, the parade had to move off of Colfax because of BRT construction. It still starts in Cheeseman Park, but then it went all the way down to 17th. And the center that puts it on saw a leadership change as well last year. CEO Rex Fuller stepped down after several years, and Kim Salvaggio took over. Also, I forgot about this. I don't know if you guys remember. They changed the name of the parade to the Vizzy Denver Pride Parade after the Vizzy Hard Seltzer brand from sponsors Molson Coors.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're looking at more changes again for 2026. I was looking up, I was like, how long has this been going on? Denver Pride started with Gay Pride Week, which started as a gathering in Cheeseman Park in 1974, which is pretty amazing. That's like over 50 years. But this year, the changes we're seeing, the festival will only be one day, so it'll be on Sunday. Although the CEO of the center says they are hoping to do a rolling pride throughout the month with various events, which actually kind of already happens within the community usually in June. But the big change I think here is it's moving the festival itself, the like post parade festival, from Civic Center Park, which is going to be under construction, to 16th Street. Again, the parade will still start in Cheeseman Park, still go down 17th, but it will move to 16th Street. They haven't said how much of 16th Street they're going to take up. It could be as big as from the DNF Clock Tower to Broadway, but I think that's a pretty big shift. Civic Center Park to 16th Street, very different vibes. Justine, what did you think of this change?
I'm like really excited to see it because I'm like, the mall has had its new renovations. So I want to see like what that looks like to bring people back gathering. And it's kind of cool that they get a chance to do it without any like too much risk because they can't do it in Civic Center. So they have to move it here, and it can be kind of a trial run and maybe see if this works and that space works. I just like think party on the mall type situations. I'm like, all right.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel the same way because it's like the mall is nice now. The like the floor, the ground, the
floor.
tile. I don't know, the flooring. It's nice. It's easy to walk on. I don't know. It's like kind of perfect for a parade to go down. I feel like that makes perfect sense. The only thing is that there's not a lot of like great places to hang, like for bars and stuff and like restaurants. I don't love a lot of the options.
But like honestly,
down
there's
there,
not
personally,
really. I don't think
except
there's a
Chopstickers.
gay bar.
But I don't know.
I mean, it's different because Civic Center also doesn't have that. But
No.
I'll be curious if they activate any of those empty retail spaces and turn them into
Right.
like pop-ups. Because
Yeah.
my
That would be
concern
really
is
fun.
what you're actually talking
Pop-up
about, Olivia, is
clubs.
the physical space itself. I'm worried about how hot it can get because Civic Center would get hot, but at least you had tree shade, and there isn't a ton of tree shade on the mall itself. So I would hope that maybe some of those empty retail spaces are opened up as like hangout, get a drink, sit down, get some rest. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
It kind of sucks that it's on a Sunday. I don't know if anyone's really said that. I'm like, as a like someone that wants to just go party at the parade, I'm like, Sunday? Why
Yeah.
not Saturday?
I kind of wondered that too. I was like, why not pick Saturday? And then because usually with Pride, it was Saturday was the super party day, and then Sunday was more of the family relaxing day.
Chill, like markets. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it probably has to do with the parade because that's like the big day and the parade happens.
Yeah.
So they want to keep the parade on the Sunday and then, keep that going.
I think that'll be the thing we're watching too, is just the vibe, how the vibe is for just a Sunday versus a Saturday and a
Which
Sunday.
I think people will make their own celebration for sure. Like, I'm sure that
Oh, for sure.
all the bars and all the restaurants and stuff are going to have like specials and like have parties. And like, I know that there's been like, God, one year at, what is it, Oktoberfest, there was like a silent disco in some, I don't even know where, I was drunk, so I don't even remember where I was, but it was like outside somewhere in a public space and they like blocked it off and it was like a silent disco. I could see them doing that in the 16th Street area. I think silent discos are kind of corny, personally. I'm like, make it an out loud disco, but something like that, like activate the space, do some like fun stuff out there, the time leading up to the parade.
The possibility for activation of 16th Street Mall, that's where the opportunity really is how they use the space.
There's a lot of room for
sure.
people too. There's not much going on down there. So like we could cram a lot of people in there.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just, for bring the people back.
Yeah. This is what they've been trying to do. Revitalize, vibrant or whatever.
Vibrant.
Vibrant. Vibrant, whatever.
I would love to see, here's an idea for the parade. Wrap the mall ride or the free ride, whatever we call it now, in like a rainbow wrap and like make it into a float, a fancy like float for the parade, and let people like hang out of it and stuff and just like let it.
I don't know if the parade's even going to come to the mall though, because it's still going out of Cheeseman Park down 17th.
Okay, well I still want to wrap the mall rides anyway.
Yes. I like this.
Just make them like a party bus. Yeah. Put some lights in there. Put a DJ on the shuttle.
If you're a DJ and you would like to DJ the mall ride, please write in. No.
I was like, I think I have my friend Aaron Stereo, who's a DJ, would be the perfect DJ for this.
I was like, we have no jurisdiction over that, but it's a really cool idea.
The other thing that I found really interesting was part of the conversation over the last couple of years is sponsorship, right? When we've seen a lot of organizations dump their, quote, DEI component, and that meant a lot of that money that was previously donated to things like Denver Pride was no longer happening. So the center actually addressed this. Denverite reported that the center is changing how it accepts corporate money. A center employee and a 3-person committee made up of community members will decide who they take money from. So they have raised $200,000 so far in corporate commitments, but historically this has cost around $2 million. It's March, y'all. This event is in June. So I think it's admirable that they created this system for evaluating corporations that want to donate, but I would be curious how many corporations are out there donating this year, again, compared to maybe previous years. I think that's where it's going to be a little tough. I don't know. We'll see.
It sounded like in this article that some corporations were trying to like shield themselves, from the retaliation from the like Trump administration with the DEI pushback stuff by not participating, donating in, Pride and things like that. So,
yeah, that was what happened last year too, because companies are worried about like words that had been flagged by the federal government and funding being taken away. And so businesses, corporations too, are also like, well, if it's going to be retaliation, they never did it out of the goodness of their hearts and because they believe that value. But
it was a real mask off time.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's all about the bottom line, right? So whatever they have to do to make sure that they're protecting their profit.
Yeah, I wonder too if the 16th Street Mall move would maybe even bring some money from the Downtown Denver Partnership. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, it's just a totally different location. We're talking a city park to now like a retail space, essentially. So maybe some local companies might step up there. I don't know.
I would like to see it come back to that in a sense, because, Pride was a protest and there were these groups that gathered in the 70s that started this whole movement. And it did get really corporate inflated. Like, I get it. Get your money. Coors came in because it's Colorado. It's Coors. They're like sponsor all this stuff. But it just got so inflated to the point I think people were just like, what is this? It's like losing its sense. And maybe this scale down, this relocation can bring some of that in. I like the idea too of them doing more events outside so people can celebrate Pride in all the ways that they feel comfortable. It's maybe not a huge outdoor festival. It's difficult to bring your family out, and kids and stuff to go outside, not know where bathrooms are, not know if you have water, find parking.
That's what I was thinking too, was like maybe there's going to be more bathroom opportunities at the very least.
Or more access points. I know there's a safety issue there too, but getting people in and out and, having an experience, I think that's less inflated as it's been the last few years and bringing it back to its roots, bringing it back a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
I love Pride.
Yeah. I know I do too. I was like, never had a bad
such
time.
a good time.
I'm thinking about too the Saturday before now. Like, I don't know. I guess that's when you can just, again, places are already having events, but I'm like, oh man, Champagne Tigers patio on a Saturday before Pride X Bar always does crazy stuff. There's so many opportunities to support local queer spaces anyway, but like I would be
One Colorado Pink Party, always the Friday before. Good times. Support One Colorado.
Pearl usually has like Jello wrestling.
Yes.
There's always something.
There'll be a lot of and again, it also or it usually brings like cool celebrities come in. Like I feel like Lady Bunny came last year to DJ. Like there's always going to be cool stuff. So it'll just be a lot of the same of that, like DIY, make your own schedule for Saturday, and then just devote your Sunday to checking out the 16th Street Mall version, which is yet to be seen. But I'm cautiously optimistic here. I think you guys made me feel a little better about it.
I think it could be cool. I think it could be cool. I'm looking forward to it, and if they don't get all the corporate money they need, let's get back to DIY.
Yeah. Let's see what our community can do.
Yeah. I'll be there spending my money.
Hey.
Well, Justine, Olivia, thanks for joining me this morning. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell the Center CEO, Kim Salvaggio, about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to our morning newsletter at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. Oh my God. My in-laws have Alexa. We don't in our house. And Montgomery loves that thing. He's like, Alexa, living room light, rainbow. Alexa. I was like, can we just sit in the living room?